Hi, everyone. Susan Winter here. Welcome to my channel. YouTube subscribers, thank you so much for coming back each week and for following all of my work. You really incentivize me, and I appreciate you so much. And YouTube family and friend and fan members, thank you as well. Let's talk about dating games. Let's talk about hot and cold. Let's talk about the one who pursues and then retracts, what that sets up in you and how you can change that. I do have a keen interest in hot and cold, having put myself to the task of dating players for 6 years to get information. Had none, didn't know what I was dealing with, but I found some truth in human nature, and I watched the patterns, and I discovered some things that I hope are going to help you today. So there are two kinds of people that are hot and cold. And there are those who are conscious of it. They are the conscious players. They are either hardcore players that know the goal is to obtain you, get you, and do whatever, whatever they want, but you are the acquisition to be attained. And there are those who are also psychopaths and narcissists, and they just simply know to control people. And they know how to be very charismatic, very engaging, get into your head and make you feel wonderful in the first phase. Then there are those who are rather unconscious or newly educated to dating games, either those people that are trying to learn to play game, to engage you and to look slick, and they really don't have a clue, but they're going to be disastrous either way. And those who have kind of learned it from their family of origin. They simply know that when I don't feel safe or comfortable and I feel like maybe I don't stand a chance with somebody, I'll put them down, or I'll make them feel unimportant, or I'll flirt with their friends. I'll pay attention to them, then I'll look away, and then so they have a whole routine that they do. And all they know is that when I do this, I get what I want. Now, whether they are conscious or unconscious, they can still hurt you and they can waste your time. So here's the pattern. And those of you who follow my hot and cold, I know that you know this, it's a routine, but the more accurately that you begin to decode the routine and the patterns, you will know where you are in the process, and you can predict via human nature what will come next. So the first is hot. They're into you. They're making you feel attractive, interesting, exciting. They're flirting with you. They're talking to you. Maybe they're doing a little hot and cold just to test the waters and get it a little bit hotter for the whole conversation. But they are engaging you, and you are feeling a little fluttery inside. It's exciting. It's dynamic. That's phase one. And then the second part of phase one is your acquisition. They put in enough time and attention to make you feel that you may have something here. That is when you bite the bait. They can say things like, I've never felt this way before. My God, I've never met anybody like you. Or they could have learned and rehearsed lines if they are the newly educated to how to play the game. But at any rate, you're going to like it. It may even seem a little, mechanical if they're the newbies, but you're going to like where it's going. Then you bite the bait. You move forward and you begin to attach and you begin to connect with this person. And this to you feels like, oh my God, the connection. We got the connection. Because they're flooding you with light and admiration and making you feel good. So that to you feels like a connection, like you've really got something here. Here's the next thing that happens. Then they go into the retraction, the cold phase. They dial it back. You don't get a text every day, every morning, whatever. There's that break in the pattern, and you freak, and rightly so. Because now there's either the recognition that I'm with a player, or no matter whether consciously or unconsciously, it has stopped. And here we go into the other phase, which is the not paying attention to you. And this is where you become obsessed and you feel addicted to the attention and you scramble and you think of, what can I do to get it back? Because I want to feel the way I felt before. And you're sure that if you just do something or don't do something, you'll reactivate them. But this is basically the pattern that plays out. And it dwindles down. So the first big charge is huge, and then the retraction feels huge. And then there might be absence for a while, then a little flurry and a little retraction. And then the space between the cycles gets longer and more drawn out till it goes from huge to like that. So what's just happened? You have gotten onto a player's game board, and you need to start to recognize the patterns. Too hot too soon, that's a game. Too much over the top, something's wrong. It's great that they like you. It is. And you need to ride that out because they might just be actually honest and just can't keep their mouth shut about how crazy they are about you. But it has to be consistent. And that is the one thing that these players do not do, conscious or unconscious. They can't stay consistent. So that first break in the pattern, frightening, because it is indicative of what is to come afterwards. This is where your cure, your methodology to fix this is to dial it back, look clearly and objectively at what has happened, write it out on paper. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. That's going to help you from going into that dream state and like, oh, but maybe they didn't mean that. Oh, maybe they really had to go out of town for a month. Oh my goodness. It's going to get you very clear when you read it in black and white. So I do suggest doing that work. And then you've realized that you've been on a game board. So do not react. Don't react to your first impulse. I want you to think it through. Get very clear on what do you want to do next? What do you want to say next? Are you disappointed? Do you want to call them out? You have many options according to your personality and what you'd like to achieve for yourself and what tools you have in your tool belt. Do not feel victimized by this, like, oh my God, it's only me. No, it's not you. It's most everybody out there. Anybody who's confused and dating, they run hard at something, get a little taste of it, and then they lose interest. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, just means you're caught up in the way that modern dating is. So what we do is we begin to filter. This is my word, filter, 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 filter. You are filtering for consistency. You are filtering for less of the highs and lows and more of this. You want more of this kind of a ride. That would be indicative of somebody who is going to be consistent. State clearly what you want and need in a relationship. Have the discussions that I know you don't want to have it because it's so wonderful in the beginning. You better have them. If you don't know where you want to go, you will go where they take you. Don't forget that. So put your hands on the steering wheel, get back in the game, express yourself, let your partner know that you really feel very attracted to them when they stay in touch with you. You lose attraction when they don't. You don't do the games. You're looking for a committed relationship or whatever you're looking for. Be very clear about it. And then see if they can get back on track. Was it fear? Did they learn a routine that they thought was going to get them the person of their dreams? Were they scared? Was somebody else giving them instructions? Oftentimes that's the case. I know we tend to listen to our friends, and who knows what kind of background they have had in relationships. And we have to be careful of that. But this is where you can turn it around. And this is where you can take control of this scenario yourself. So I hope that this helps you. Susan Winter for SusanWinter.net. If you've weathered through this storm, you have done very well. You will start to see the patterns more quickly, more clearly, and you will be less affected by what goes on because you will have more of a say-so in how it rolls out. So if you want to consult with me, go to SusanWinter.net. I would love to work with you. I even do in-persons, depending upon where I am during the year. And certainly join my newsletter and join the live show on Thursdays. Thanks a lot, everyone.